lovelies. Welcome back to my channel, Wine About Books, where we talk about our favorite morally gray men and the red flags that we love to ignore. Before we go any further, don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode. And with that, we're just going to go straight into today's review. Today, I want to talk about The Ritual by Shantel Tessier. This book was recommended to me for quite a long time. I had been seeing it kind of on my recommended list on Amazon and on my For You page on Instagram, and I constantly was just kind of like glancing over it. I was like, I'll get to it later. And I regret so much putting this book off because, oh my God, this book had my jaw on the floor. I don't know what I was expecting, but I was not expecting what this book was. This pretty much reignited my love for anything dark romance. There is a page of trigger warnings before we go into it. If there is something that you find particularly triggering, I would highly recommend you go. You can go into her website and you can get the full list of triggers. I would heed those warnings because she's not kidding around when she talks about what the triggers are in this book. So if there is anything that you are not a fan of, you might just want to sit this one out. However, if that is something that does not bother you and it's something that in fact makes you just want to read it more, by all means, pick it up and let's talk about it. So The Ritual is college romance, and it talks about the secret society called the Lords. I wouldn't call it a mafia. I feel like there are aspects of it that make me think mafia, but it is definitely more of a secret society, even more of a cult. I would honestly just call it a cult. But there are certain ones who are picked to be in this group called the Lords. And in the beginning of the book, she goes and kind of explains what they are. But they're essentially this organization where throughout their first 3 years of college, these boys or these men are forced to go through some brutal and excruciating initiations to the point where they dwindle them down from maybe a group of 20 to a group of 3 by their senior year when they're finally initiated. They are commanded to do certain tasks that a lot of people might find just completely morally gray, if we're just gonna put it out there. And it's very intense. There are many scenes in this book where I kind of had to take a minute and be like, okay, well, and then I just kept going. But if they make it through initiation, they've become part of the Lords. And once you are part of the Lords, you are forever a part of the Lords, and the only way out is death. And this organization goes worldwide. These men are placed into certain jobs, and their job is to control and make things go their way. Like the main character in this book, Riot Archer, who we are going to talk about, he is destined to become this big shot judge in New York City. And so because these men are basically know that they are going to get these positions, whether they're billionaires, whether they're salesmen, or whether they're in the government, they're these men with enormous amounts of power, and they have a worldwide organization to back them and manipulate things to go their way. And so if you betray them, death is the only thing that will get you out or that will happen to you. And that's not a spoiler. She goes into the beginning and explains it very, very well exactly what the Lords are going to be. That being said, they are also, not all of them, but a lot of them have arranged marriages to powerful families. So these men who have daughters want to continue their control because women are not allowed to become lords. And so they want to continue their control in this world. And so they arrange these marriages to other lords' sons who are also lords so they can stay in power and control in hopes of producing a son, and then they regain that power back in their family. And so Riot Archer it starts off with him as a freshman, and he is becoming a lord. He's going through the initiation process, and you kind of see each chapter goes a little bit more into what he has to do. It's very important in the beginning because something that happens in the very beginning is what ties into the climax of this book. So it's important to remember and pick up on all these little details. And so once you become initiated into the Lords, because a lot of these men have arranged marriages, like I said, not all of them do, but quite a bit of them do. Their senior year, they are allowed to pick a chosen. And a chosen is a woman who they pick that is not necessarily a girlfriend. It is someone who is meant to service them, if you will. And they are forced to do whatever it is they want them to do. No questions asked. And this is highly supported by their families, the lords, everyone. And everyone knows you do not fuck with a lord's chosen. If you decide to fuck with a chosen, you're screwed. And so there's a whole initiation process that goes for these girls becoming a chosen. I'm not going to go into how women are picked to be chosens, because that is a little bit of a spoiler, but you will figure out how certain women are put up there. And sometimes it is who these people were arranged to marry, and sometimes it's not. It's just sometimes these guys like want to have some fun before they're able to get married, because part of the Lord's initiation process is they have to remain celibate for 3 years, because it's about showing their discipline. And Riot Archer, as he gets into his senior year, he's called in by one of the big headshot lords, and he's told who he is supposed to pick as his chosen, which is not very common. A lot of times they can pick whoever it is they want, but he is told specifically he has to pick this girl, Blakely. And so for a while in the beginning of the book, he's kind of stalking her, and he is saying how he is going to make her want him. Like, obviously she has no choice, but he is going to make it so she thinks she has the choice. And so the beginning of the book is him like accidentally running into her, stalking her, watching her through her window. And it's very shadow daddy. And so Blakely, who comes from a very wealthy family, because most of these families who go to Barrington University are very wealthy families. In fact, the guys who are part of the Lords don't even have to really go to class, because it's just assumed that they're going to graduate, they're going to pass. And it doesn't really matter, because they're all giving certain jobs. They're not going to school and picking their own job. They are told what they're going to do. And so when he's told that he's supposed to pick Blakely, he says, okay. He doesn't know why. He's not supposed to ask questions, but he just knows that this is who he is supposed to pick. And so as he is kind of running into Blakely and getting them caught in certain intimate situations where she is led to believe that she is wanting him, you learn that she is dating this guy, Matt, who is also a fellow lord, and you find out that they are an arranged marriage. That's not a spoiler. I mean, again, in the beginning, you're going to learn that they are in an arranged marriage. And so she's very confused as to why this Riot guy, who is a brother with Matt in the Lords, because they are in the same initiation class, why he's suddenly showing her all this attention. But Matt is not exactly the best boyfriend per se. But Blakely is a strong ass female character. I love this girl. She takes shit from no one. And so when she finds out Matt is doing something that causes her to be incredibly angry, she says, well, fuck you. I'm going to go and accept Riot's offer to be his chosen. And it's really like a fuck you to Matt, a fuck you to her family, because she really can't stand Matt. And so, yeah, she goes through the chosen process, and Riot claims her, for lack of a better word. And they become each other's. He is her lord. She is his chosen. And this carries on until he will graduate. And throughout the book, he puts her in situations that she claims that she does not want to be a part of. And as they are getting closer, she's very clearly not opposed to being put into these situations. And, obviously she starts to grow feelings for Riot, and Riot as well. But Riot has a second agenda that you don't really know much about. You're learning throughout the book. Like, there's a reason he was supposed to pick Blakely. He's trying to figure out why he's supposed to pick Blakely, but he also knows he's doing it as kind of a fuck you to Matt, because he can't stand Matt either. And so throughout the book, you're slowly piecing together why Riot chose her. And then Blakely is just kind of finding herself as a woman and realizing that her life has just been dictated to her, and she no longer wants that. She wants to make her own choices, become her own woman, and she's learning that Riot is what she wants. He doesn't take shit from anybody. He's gonna defend his girl. He takes what he wants, and it is hot. Everything in this book, there is plenty of spice, and the spice in this book does not disappoint, even though it does get a little questionable in terms of consent in certain spots. But yeah, clearly Blakely is not opposed to certain situations. Yeah, Riot Archer. Yeah, if I was Blakely, I wouldn't fight it too much either. Yeah, but I don't want to go too much into it. The climax of this book is kind of what made my jaw hit the floor, because it was a twist I did not see coming. I did not see this twist coming. I was like, holy shit! And like the last 100 pages of the book, I could not finish fast enough. I just wanted to know exactly what was going to happen, and it leads into you end up figuring out why Riot had to choose Blakely, and how he ends up just developing feelings for her, and she doesn't just become a mission or a project anymore, and they end up becoming true lovers. Even though Blakely, let's not forget, is arranged to marry Matt. And so there's this whole web of deception, there's this whole web of lies, there's all these secrets happening, and you're piecing it together throughout the book, and you just cannot wait to figure out what is it, what is happening. And throughout the book, you also get to learn more about the Lords. You learn about what they do, exactly what their missions are. It is a little graphic in terms of brutality. There is a lot of violence in it, so I would heed that trigger warning. But yeah, this book had my jaw on the floor. Shantel knows what she's doing, and I regret so much putting this book off for as long as I did, because yeah, it's a good one. I even read the rest in the series. There's still another one, Carnage, that I have not read yet, which I'm curious to see what people think about. It's a spinoff. Carnage is, it's not a spoiler, it's introduced in the second book, which we will discuss at a later time. Yeah, the second book is definitely probably one of the most intense dark romance books I've read, in a good way. There's not a lot that shocks me, and not a lot that makes me blush, but that book, that one made me blush. This one just, yeah, Riot is one of my new favorite book boyfriends. And yeah, I love him. I love Blakely. I love how her character just takes no shit. And you meet a few other characters in the book who are also lords, and you read more about them in the series, and you learn a little more about their stories. And yeah, that's about what we're gonna go into. I would highly recommend this book. Shantel knows exactly what she's doing. I cannot wait to finish the rest of the series. But yeah, I would pick it up. Tell me what you think. Do you like it? Have you read this book? If you've read it, what did you think? What did you like about it? What did you not like about it? I can tell you there was very little I did not like about this book. Every little piece, every little part of this book has a significance, and you will read something in the very beginning and you'll get to it at the very end. You'll go oh, holy shit, that's what that was for. That's what that means. So you are going to be left with a lot of questions at the beginning, but you just have to keep going, because I promise they will be answered. But there will be a lot of holes until you get to the end. And there's a lot of unanswered questions, and you just have to kind of keep going, and eventually it all just comes together in this one big mind-blowing conclusion. And yeah, it's great. I loved it. I loved it so much. I couldn't put it down. I read it within 2 days. It's great. And Riot is someone you are going to want to add to your book boyfriends. He's very, very possessive. Very he's very touch her and you die, and that is what we want out of a book boyfriend, is it not? So yeah, pick it up. Tell me what you think. If you liked it, what'd you like about it? If you didn't like it, tell me what you didn't like about it. If you have any other books written by her that you recommend that I read, let me know, and let's talk about it in the comments. And yeah, let me know what you think. I can't wait to hear. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.